happening right now? I am so scared. Hey! I'm back. I just am sorry for my absence. I know I said in my last video that I would try to be more, what's the word? More laser focused on it. I don't know, life kind of just happened and I just think that like mentally my brain wasn't all the way there. I don't know. Anyway, with that being said, I am back and this is what I'll say. Sometimes I just get stressed and like I get really anxious about things, and I feel like with this project specifically, I get in these moments in my head where, oh my god, what am I saying? What am I saying? I always want it to be like a fun thing, and like it still is a fun thing, but for some reason I really put this weird, strange, invisible pressure that does not exist on this kind of thing where it was like, oh, I can't write more because I need to film it, but I don't actually have time to film it, and because I don't have time to film it, I just don't write. And then when you don't do something for long enough, you just kind of like don't do it at all. And then this cyclical pattern kind of just manifests and rots itself inside your core, and then you don't do anything about it. But anyway, I'm back to report that I am excited to be back and looking forward to writing again and sharing my ideas with you all, and hope that you also, I don't know, are here for a good time. I don't know, I'm not gonna make any promises. You know, I tried to make a promise last time and I immediately broke it, so I'm gonna be hopeful that I can create some kind of consistency here and write and share my ideas with you all, because this is important to me and this story is really important to me, and I want it to be something that fosters excitement within me. Anyway, I hope you understand. That was very long-winded, but TLDR, excited to be back. Can't wait to work on this. Okay, the plan for tonight, I have some scenes that I would love to share with everybody, if you'll have me. I am going to pull up some scenes that I had written a while ago. So these are not new. These are some things that I have written. Oh. What is happening? So the unfortunate news is I just opened the document with everything that I've written so far and it's gone, question mark. No problem. Everything will be okay. But I just okay, so I have a Word document that has everything that I've ever written for this for this movie, and I just opened it and the Word document is in fact empty. So I'm just gonna do some troubleshooting. What is happening right now? Okay, open your document, file, revert to. File, revert to. Where is that? I am so scared. Guys, this is not a drill. This is not clickbait. But, okay, so I'm going through my Microsoft Word, like the history of it, and like it's like things that you've opened recently. And I found the original document, but it says that I can't open it because the document is either deleted or not currently accessible. But what does that mean? Because why would I delete this? Why would I delete that? Why would I? Okay. What is happening? This is a prank. Where are the cameras? Guys, I am gonna be so honest. Like, I don't know what to do. So my unfortunate update is that I don't know what happened to the document. And there was so much written on this document. And I simply don't know what happened to it. And I'm like really distraught over this, but you can't tell because my brain is like really trying to process what's happening, and I'm going through all 7 stages of grief in one exact moment, and that's happening right now. I'm really close to crying right now. Let me start with the good news. Okay, the good news is the scenes that I've written so far, I know that I've screenshotted them somewhere because I've sent them to my friends. So I just need to look for those screenshots. That's fine. What makes me really upset is that the things that I didn't screenshot, like little lines of dialogue, little moments that I am excited to write about, little scene ideas that I've written in this document, are definitely lost. Okay, I think this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna figure out something, and then I'm gonna come back once I'm less stressed. Okay. Let me try again. I just spent the past half hour looking at ways to recover lost Word documents. Let me just kind of explain what happened, because maybe I was just too baffled by my discovery to explain what was happening as it was happening. But I have a Word document in a file folder called Noah and Cassie, and in this folder there's a Word document, and obviously I write a lot of these brainstorming ideas in here, but when I think about scenes that I'd like to write and I want to materialize them into this fiction form, I write it on my laptop and in this document, which I have shared. I think I shared one of the scenes in the first video of this series. So I have this document and I always save it. I don't do anything on this document besides write more or add more to the plot of the story. And so you can imagine my surprise when I'm opening this document and it is just completely empty. Like 0 words, 1 page. I just simply don't know what to do. There's an area where you can browse version history. That's not applicable to me. I can't click on that. And there's a place where it says open recent. And under open recent, you can't even see any of this. So I can see there's the file, but I can't open it because it says we couldn't find your file. Was it moved, renamed, or deleted? ? No. The answer is no to all 3 questions. I feel really upset about this. You're not here to watch a girl regulate her emotions. You're here to watch me write and to work on this project. And I'm definitely gonna cry about this later, don't get me wrong. You just don't need to see that. But you know, it'll be fine. It will be fine. I'm gonna go find those screenshots and we're just gonna move on. What's important is that we have the foundation of the story in here, and those scenes can be rewritten, and sometimes, you know, I might rewrite things in a way that could be so much better. I'm gonna go find those screenshots, I'm gonna share with you a scene, and then we'll do some brainstorming. Love it. Okay. See you in a second. I'm back. Thanks for being here during my crisis. I found a screenshot of one of the scenes that I had written, and I would love to share that with you now. I also know that I was gonna write tonight, but I just feel very upset. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna share with you the exciting plan that I have for this plot moving forward, because as you know, maybe you don't, but I'm really bad at writing plot. So I have kind of a plan of attack for that, and so I'm excited to share that with you. But I just don't think I have it in me to write tonight. I'm gonna be thinking about that loss for a while. I think I just need to like read this, talk about that, and then go to bed and mourn, you know? I'm gonna share with you this scene, and I'm gonna give some context first. And all of these scenes that I write, I don't know if they're gonna make it into the final cut, but they're just there to help spark inspiration and kind of add more depth to the characters, and that helps me understand who they are and how that can help me. In this scene, it is Noah seeking comfort in her mother after either kind of like maybe a disagreement between the two, maybe just a hard day, maybe just a miscommunication between the two of them, but it is just a daughter looking for comfort in her mother. So she goes up to her mom's bedroom, and yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna start, and I hope you enjoy. Noah presses up the stairs to her mother's bedroom, knuckles white, gripping the banister like she knows her body will forfeit and run if she lets go. With her footsteps light as air on the ground, she feels like she's sneaking out, going somewhere she's not supposed to, not allowed to. And this feeling berates her fully when she's 2 inches from her mother's door. She feels silly and small, like a child waking up their mother after wetting the bed. Her figure stills, haunted at the doorframe by the potential of what could happen within. Noah doesn't know what she wants from her mother. A genuine apology? Desperate forgiveness? Noah's mother doesn't ever shut her door fully. Never enough to see into the room, but enough for the tremble of a finger to push it open. And on a lonely bed with the light still on, she finds her mother asleep. Noah pulls forward and watches, mesmerized by the steady rise and fall of her chest. Even in sleep, her mother looks tired, spent. She's on her back with an arm outstretched towards the other side of the bed, reaching. Noah's lip quivers at the sight of her mother. She pulls and twists at her fingers, stuck between staring and an aching need to have her awake. I need you right now, she thinks, and you need me too. It comes out as a whisper at first. Mama, she says. There's only stillness, and so she tries again, half aloud, half not. Mama. Her mother stirs and hums low from the back of her throat. Her eyes blink open, adjusting to the light, and then fully on her daughter standing before her. Face sullen and heavy, but so childlike altogether. Her child. Noah, she says, and the pressure curdling in Noah breaks through her ribcage and pours out of her body. Mama, she croaks. She crumples into the bed, into her father's spot, and into the heat of her mother's arms. And that's the scene. What I really like about it is that even though there are moments of animosity, I guess, and just frustration and miscommunication between these two, at the end of the day, I think that they know that they really just have each other. What I really hope that I was able to capture in the beginning was this kind of like, this idea of like that hesitancy at the door to like knock it, because once you knock it, you actually have to face the reality of what's behind it. This apprehensive fear and anxiety that you hold while approaching, one, a loved one, your parent, and two, just like, you don't know what's on the other side of the door. You don't know the reaction you're gonna get, but you know as the child, what you need is comfort. I hope that I was able to capture that feeling of like, I don't know if I'm allowed to go in here right now, but I'm just a baby and I need you. I've been really enjoying adding footnotes on things just to like help me better understand what's happening in this scene. There is a footnote where her mom is sleeping in the bed that she shared with her husband, and she is sleeping on her side and her arm is reaching out and outstretched towards where her husband used to sleep. And when Noah enters the space, I'm imagining her mother is asleep and she's like, she has her arm outstretched towards, I wrote, the right side of the bed, closest to the door. And so obviously in her sleep, she's reaching for her husband, but metaphorically, she's also reaching for Noah and like will always be outstretched for Noah. But yeah, okay. With that being said, and with that being shared, the last thing that I'll share with you right now before I go cry is I was struggling a lot with the structure of this project, and it's something that I've always struggled on. I'm really good at building character and like writing little scenes, but when it comes to creating a cohesive piece, I've always struggled with that, and I know this about myself. I was just thinking, like, what can I do to help make this process smoother, easier? And I realized this whole movie is taking place in one academic school year. It starts in the fall, and it's gonna end in the summer. And so I just said, why don't I just categorize this in the seasons? And so I've drawn a very quick template, but here's autumn, winter, spring, and summer, and we're gonna start here and we're gonna end here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start writing everything that I know is gonna happen in these moments. In autumn, we have the death of Noah's father, there's the meet cute, the pep rally, the bonfire, all these things that happen in September. And then in winter, I know that there's gonna be things like Chinese New Year, Valentine's Day, and all these little things. And I think that being able to map out some core, I guess I'll call them core memories, to map out these core memories and have a home for them within the timeline of this narrative would be super, super helpful. I'm excited to work on this mind map and get things kind of scheduled in. I also would love to write a scene in screenplay format in this video, because it's been a while and I've been talking about screenwriting and I haven't done a lick of it. Anyway, thanks for the check-in, and I'm so sorry that this turned into a funeral instead of actual writing, but I'm glad I got to share some things, and I'm glad that we are back in business. Thank you for joining me. I will see you when I next see you in the same video. But anyway, good night. See you later. Everything will be okay. Hey everyone. So It's been a couple of days since the, I don't even know how to call it, the loss, the incident. Bad news is that I still don't know what happened to the file. The good news is that I have wonderful friends, and my wonderful friends have people who work in IT, and I have a number that I'm going to reach out to, and hopefully we can solve the problem together. If not, then I will just have to accept the fact that that file is gone. After me filming that, I cried for so long. But that, you know, it'll be okay. But I want everyone to know that I was so sad. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the confusing thing is that the document size is still like, it says it's 16 KB, which to me seems like it still has the memory of everything that's been written on that document, even though the document itself has 0 words on it. On top of that, it's confusing because that file doesn't allow me to browse version history, and for some reason it also tells me that the file doesn't exist. Anyways, I'm hoping that my friend's IT friend is able to walk me through what could have happened to the document. Regardless, that doesn't mean we give up on the project, of course not. Some good news to share is that I started to rewrite some things. Something that I did want to change was the intro to the movie. I wanted the start of the movie to begin with Noah on public transit, and she's listening to music, and the bus drops her off in front of her family's restaurant. However, I want to scrap that and change it because I had a vision for something new, and I kind of wrote it down very sporadically. It's not good, but I'm excited to walk you through the new intro. It hasn't changed that much at all, if anything. It still tells the same story, but it does open a bit differently because since this movie is also gonna be surrounded by food because Noah's family has a restaurant, I think also dedicating a lot of this movie to Asian food and Chinese food would be super fun and super cool. And so then I can also slip in elements of the food that I ate when I was growing up and things that are so yummy and delicious to me, but also because food just sparks so much community, which I feel is very important. It would be a shame if I had a movie where the main character's family business is a restaurant and I didn't focus it on the food. So with that being said, I would love to introduce you this new and improved introduction. Again, not a lot has changed. The plot still remains very similar to the thread that we've been threading. I think that this new version brings a little bit more, it adds a little oomph, you know? So instead, we open with Noah entering a seafood / fish market in Chinatown. If you've never been to like a live fish market / store, specifically like an Asian fish market, they have a very distinct look, and I'll try to find some pictures, but I'm heavily inspired by the one that I used to go to as a child all the time in Chinatown. It is now closed, unfortunately, but I just remember whenever my mom and I would have to do groceries, like, I would always go into this fish market, and it's just like tanks of live fish, and there's lobster and crab, and then like everywhere there's like ice trays full of frozen fish, and then you can purchase live fish, and the fishmongers will literally like catch it for you, and it's always like really chaotic in there, and it smells like salt and fish and the sea, and then everywhere surrounded by you there's like buckets of different clams and like blue crab. With that being said, we open in a fish market. It's busy, it's crowded, full of people either lined up with their ticket numbers waiting to be served or lined up to make their purchases. The fishmongers are helping customers either catching the live fish from the tanks, skinning or cleaning the fish, and a variety of fish are also lined on display on ice trays. So we have kind of an idea of what the setting looks like. Noah grabs a number ticket from the take a number dispenser, you know, the classic, you know the ones. The owner sees Noah and he greets her in a way that shows us as an audience that he knows her, but just in the way that's like, I recognize you because I know your mother kind of vibe. So she skips the line, obviously, duh. He asks her what she wants, and she asks him for fresh sea bass. He smiles and he says that he's been saving the fattest one for her. He catches the sea bass in a hand net and asks how her mother is doing. Noah says she's doing fine, and she like kind of shifts from foot to foot, kind of awkward. This is the first time as an audience we're getting to meet Noah, and also as an audience member, we don't know what's going on in her life right now. We don't know that her father has passed. We just know what we know of her when we see her, which is this kind of like quiet, anxious girl, but also somebody that's well known in this community. And then Noah notices a little girl trying to stick her hand in the bucket of blue crabs, and her mom immediately pulls her away and picks her up. At this part, I have like a little note here. I don't know if Noah stares at the little girl and her mom, or if into the bucket of blue crabs where they're like kind of pinching their pincers. But I like the idea of Noah looking at the mother and daughter relationship, but I don't know if that's too on the nose. So I'm gonna think about that for a bit. The owner hands her the clean sea bass in a plastic bag. Noah tries to pay the owner, but he refuses to take the money. He says it's a gift, it's a gift. He doesn't want the money, and he will not take no for an answer. Now, in this first opening scene, we've established some things here. One, we're in Chinatown. Two, Noah is clearly a well-loved person in this community, where an older Chinese man, somebody who's been in this community for a long time and working this job for a long time, knows who she is and knows who she is enough to be able to get fish for free. And also skip the line, hello. I really like this opening, and also the fish is gonna come back into play. But you'll just have to wait and see. Noah exits the fish market and walks down the streets of Chinatown. And I just have such a vision for this, where she is walking down the streets and just a girl and her fish and the camera like follows her down this journey, and I can see like the vibrant colors of Chinatown, the neon signs. I'm picturing a Toronto Chinatown, and so Toronto's Chinatown, here are some pictures, very busy. And just signs galore, restaurants galore, market vendors galore, like it is bustling. And so we have these shots of her walking through Chinatown, but it also creates an environment for us as audience members to see Chinatown in its beauty, in its glory, of her walking the streets, and like obviously she knows this environment and she's walking through it with ease, and then we follow her until she stops in front of a restaurant, and it's her restaurant. At this point, she's staring into the window, but she's staring past her reflection, and she's staring at somebody inside, her mother. And her mother is working the front desk and also wearing an apron, and clearly she looks a little frazzle-dazzled, and her mother spots her, makes eye contact with her, and her first reaction is like, what are you staring at? Like, why are you standing there? Get in and help me. Noah has kind of like an adverse reaction to this. Noah goes inside the restaurant with the fish, and now this follows the same kind of sequence that we had in the original introduction. The first conversation that we see with Noah and her mother is kind of strenuous, and I wanted it to be like that so that we can establish a relationship from the get-go. This is not a very loving relationship in the way that we see this traditional Western parental love. Her mom like kind of barely acknowledges her, like other than to scold her for taking so long with the fish. She tells her to throw the fish in the fridge and like to get back out here and help her pick up phone calls. And then her mom asks her how much the fish was, and Noah responds with, it was free. So then her mom shakes her head and goes, we don't need their pity. This is when Noah kind of like retaliates a little, and she's just like, it was just a nice thing for him to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was just nice for him to do that. And at this point, I forgot to mention, when Noah enters the restaurant, there are flowers and these signs of condolences everywhere, as mentioned before in the original intro. And this is kind of like when we're putting the pieces together of like, oh, there has been a loss in the family. Fast forward back to when Noah goes, it was just a nice thing for him to do. Her mother points to all the flowers everywhere in her restaurant, going, look at all the nice gestures that are just collecting dust and taking up space in my restaurant. I don't even know what to do with it all. Noah's mother is obviously grieving. I don't need to defend that because I've already made my statement on that. She's grieving and her grief looks different. The condolences and the flowers for her is not, she doesn't need that. She understands. Like, obviously when people come in with flowers, she's like, oh my God, thank you very much. But to her, like, that is not necessary. And for her to look at all these flowers in her husband's restaurant is like kind of just like a daily reminder. And I feel like Noah's mother has been somebody that kind of just wanted to deal with this grief the way that she was dealing with it, and not this public thing. And with Noah not paying for the fish, it was kind of like this acceptance of the pity, and we are weak because of this death, and we need, you know, people to look after us rather than just our family looking out for us. I hope that was clear. Maybe, I hope. And after Noah's mom says this is where things change a little bit. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this in, but Noah wants to respond to her mom saying, I don't know what to do with this all, but Noah can't because somebody comes into the restaurant. And Cassidy's stepdad walks in. I think his name's gonna be Mike. Stepdad Mike walks in. As an audience, we don't know him yet. but as watchers, we know him. And Noah's mom has already left to go into the kitchen. Like, she's back in business. She has things to do. And now that Noah's here, she's front of the shop. She's like picking up phones and taking orders. And again, I think I also mentioned that the restaurant's not that big. It's like you've got a few places to sit, but most people like rely on the takeout and the Uber Eats. Cassidy's stepdad walks in here. He's in business casual. Okay, and he tells Noah that he's here to pick up an order of fried noodles for his stepdaughter, who claims that this is the best place to get Chinese food. We obviously know who his stepdaughter is, obviously, but Noah doesn't. He says, "I heard the owner died not too long ago. Did you know him?" As if her family picture isn't up on the wall. And Noah, who's ringing up his order, literally doesn't answer him, because why would she? And instead, she just tells him how much the order costs. He responds with, "Things are getting pricey these days." And then he taps his card. And Noah, again, says nothing because it's like, why? I don't get out of my restaurant. Noah hands him the chow mein bag. He grabs it. And then, you know the lucky cat? He taps on the paw of the lucky cat, takes a little candy with him, and like walks away. And Noah just stares at him when he exits. And then underneath the table, she just goes like this. And I just think that's a little cute little thing to add for Noah's character because, yes, I wanted to paint her as this, like, quiet person. She's not, like, timid quiet. She's just, like, quiet, but she's aggressive quiet, but not, like, a bad aggressive quiet. There's a word for this. And then the phone rings again, which takes her out of this little trance, and she picks up the phone, and as she does this, Chinese pop music begins to play, or, like, not pop music, but, like, do you guys know Teresa Tung? I love Teresa Tung. She was a very famous Taiwanese singer in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s even. Maybe. I think she died in the 90s. I grew up listening to her music. My parents loved her music. And you probably recognize some. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe not. But she was a very famous Taiwanese singer. Beautiful voice. And she spoke so many different languages. Anyway, I have a vision of them listening to one of my favorite Teresa Tung songs, which is called, in English, "The Moon Will Represent My Heart." And in Mandarin, and excuse my pronunciation, because my Mandarin is just not that great, guys. It's not that good. But it's called 月亮代表我的心. I have this idea of when Noah picks up the phone, that music starts to play, and then we cut to mommy's cooking. That's what the scene is called. So this music continues to play, but this time the noise is emitting through a radio, and you are in the kitchen now. And Noah's mother is cooking up a storm. And I'm super excited for the idea of this cooking scene because guess what she's cooking? The fish from the beginning of the movie. And what she cooks is a traditional steamed fish. And it is a very delicious, super easy, like Chinese dish that I'm sure a lot of Chinese people grew up eating. It's just ginger and green onion, and you steam the fish and then you pour this soy sauce thing on top. It's so good. And so basically Noah's mom is making this. She's washing the rice 3 times until the water runs clear, everybody. Next, she's washing the fish again. She's running a little blade across the fish to get any pesky scales that might still be there. She scores the fish at the base of the belly and makes incisions in the fish, and then she's cutting gingers and scallions. When she's doing this, the camera is up close to like, it gives me like, you know when you're watching anime cooking scenes and it's just like, they look so mouthwatering good. I have a vision of it looking like that. And so Noah's mom's knife work is really good because she's a chef, and she's cutting the ginger and she's cutting the scallions, and the ginger is cut very thinly, like very julienne style, and the scallions are cut on a long diagonal, so you have these beautiful like ribbon strips. And then she stuffs some of the ginger and the onion into the fish, and she puts it in like a little steamer thing, and while she's doing that, she starts to make the soy sauce thing that is so good. And then she's also cutting red chilies and cilantro. And then once the fish is done, you take the fish out and you pour the sauce on top. And it's so good. Anyway, bam, rice is done, fish is done, dinner is served. And so while this is happening, the noises in the kitchen are beautiful. When you have a steamer, I don't know about anybody else's steamer, but our steamer at home, when it's like boiling, the lid kind of like rumbles a little bit, and so there's noise coming from that, there's noise coming from the rice being done, and then there's noise coming from the music in the stereo speaker. But as soon as dinner is done, the music cuts completely and we cut to the dinner time scene, which is very similar to the scene that we had in the original introduction, where the music is gone, quiet, the dinner table is set, we are sat, we are eating. Same vibe as before. The empty spot is still there, and Noah is again just sitting there, very quiet. And then that's when her mom asks her if she's ready for school tomorrow. And Noah's just like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. And her mom again is like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? And at this point, I'm still deciding whether or not I want them to fight or for it to be just this passive thing where Noah's holding a lot of anger and her mom obviously clearly has things to say, but they don't say it yet because it might be too soon, because I've already created that dynamic where they can't really talk to each other. Right now I've written that there isn't a very big fight. All that happens is her mom says like, what do you mean you don't know? You've already had 2 weeks of a break. And the way that she says it makes it seem like this break was kind of like a vacation for her, but it was a very needed, necessary break from life because of the loss that they had experienced. And when she says this, Noah looks so agitated and tired of this discussion because like, how could she even be ready for anything ever again? Then she's also thinking like, how does her mother make this look so easy? And like, she doesn't care. But basically, that is the new intro. I think it could be fun. It could be good. It's not that big of a change, but I like this new addition, especially like the fish market and her walking through Chinatown, because these establishing scenes really paints this beautiful picture of the setting and the importance of this community and sets us up for when we are going to encounter these themes of gentrification and community and food and love. I feel like without it, it would have been a little lackluster. I think the next thing that I want to do is to write this out in screenplay format with you guys, but I am not going to do that right now because I have to go to work soon. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I will see you when I next see you. Goodbye! Hi, it's been a week since the last clip. I hope that you are enjoying this very patchwork writing vlog. I think today is going to be the day that we do some screenwriting and we write the introduction of this movie. Also, updates on the original document. The other day, I spent like maybe an hour and a half on the phone with my friends, partners, friend's sister's fiance. He's like some smart IT guy, and he spent like so much of his time with me over the phone just trying to figure out what happened to this document, and I doubt that he'll ever watch this video. But Reed, thank you so much for spending so much time with me over the phone and being so nice to me and so patient with me. I'm sorry to also report that the document is still gone. What's done is done. I think it's gone forever. Anyway, all that aside, I would love to do some screenwriting today. The script writing software that I use is called Celtx, C-E-L-T-X. I was introduced to this writing software in university and I've just kind of stuck with it. It's free for use. However, you are limited to just 3 projects unless you pay for the full subscription. But because you are only limited to 3 projects, if you want to start a new one, you have to like save one of them and then delete it and start from scratch there, which I have done many times because I don't have a subscription to the service. If you are going to make an account, there's a screen that pops up that's like, you should get a plan, and it makes it seem like you need a plan to write it. But if you scroll down to the bottom in tiny little fine print, it says, no thank you, I'll just use my limited plan, and then you can just click that and it takes you to where you need to be. I also don't know how I'm gonna format this video so that you guys can also see what I'm doing while I'm writing. It might be a little challenging because if I were to screen record my screen, I think my laptop would combust. I just might throw up some screenshots of what we're writing. Oh my god! Guys, I just looked at the site. They've reduced the 3 free projects to 1 free project. Also, 3 things before we start writing. 1, I still do not have a title for this movie. And that's okay. It'll come to me when it comes to me. I think I'm just putting too much pressure on myself to figure out a name for this movie. 2, I still don't have a name for Noah's mother. Here's the thing with Noah's mom's name is that there's a specific vision that I want for her name. I know a lot of older Asian immigrants and refugees who, when coming to Canada, they will change their name to a more anglicized version so that it's easier for, I guess, this Western dominated world to be able to pronounce their name and see them as a member of their Western society. And I am toying with that idea for Noah's mother as well. I just need to figure out what that name is going to be, and I might just pull one from somebody that I know in my life. I've been really thinking about the name Jenny for Noah's mom, and I think it has a nice ring to it. Mama Fung, Jenny Fung. And finally, number 3, obviously this is a movie and our main character is Chinese, so the main language that her and her mother are going to be communicating in is Chinese. Don't know if it's Mandarin or Cantonese yet. I do not know, but in my head it's going to be Cantonese because that's just the one that I know better. And with that being said, I am going to have to figure out how language is going to look in screenplay, and when the characters are going to be speaking in Chinese and when they're not, and what do these fight scenes look like, and also specifically what do the what do the arguments and what do the conflicts look like. I think it would be interesting to watch how Noah struggles to express herself with both languages at the same time. I still don't know how that's going to work out writing wise or even story wise, but I do know that it's a very important aspect that I would like to keep in the movie, because it would be just strange for this whole movie to be in English. That is not the plan, and that will also help in painting a more cohesive picture between these characters. Just to preface, in university I took a bunch of screenwriting classes. I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, so I'm familiar with it, and I know some of the terms, and I know what it's supposed to look like, and generally how a script is supposed to feel. Am I an expert and am I a screenwriter? By any means, absolutely not. I think my knowledge is very preliminary, very basic. If you're an expert screenwriter and you're watching this, just expect me to not be where you are. But also, if you want to learn about screenwriting, perhaps you've come to a good place. Maybe I can be that guide for you. Oh, I gotta check in on my... Oh no. So sorry. Okay, I've moved some things around because I think it's time to start writing. I wanted to go over the components of what's in a screenplay, but I'll put a picture up here. This is from Studio Binder. I looked on Google. Also, I heard Studio Binder is also a phenomenal screenwriting software. I've just yet never used it, so I don't know anything about it. This guide is great for understanding the components of a screenplay because there are a lot, and this could probably explain to you more than I could explain to you. As a side tangent, before I start writing, I am keeping in mind that when I'm writing this, it is not final. It is not a final draft. There are things that are going to be changed. I really like this new introduction. However, there are a lot of things that I think are missing and I would like to add more symbolism, more imagery. I would just like to get something down in screenwriting form to be able to help me propel the story further. I think I'm just gonna start writing. So we begin every screenplay with fade in, which is just indicating that this is the start of your screenplay. Next, we're gonna get into our scene heading, or I've been taught that it's also called a slug line, so that's kind of what I usually call them. But scene heading, same thing. And in your scene heading, you need 3 basic things, whether you're inside or you're outside, where you are, and the time of day. We are starting with Noah entering the fish market. So interior, so we use INT for short. Fish market dash mid-afternoon. Let's do that. Next, we have the action lines, which are usually no more than 3 or 4 lines on the page. Basically, we're describing what you're gonna see on the screen. Okay, so we have Noah Fung. Anytime also you introduce a new character, their names are gonna be written in capital letters, but only the first time you ever introduce them. And also beside them in parentheses is gonna be their age. So I put Noah Fung in all caps, bracket 16, enters the fish market. Oh, you know what I'm also gonna add? Okay, scratch that. Don't scratch that, but above my first scene heading, I'm gonna add another scene heading, which is exterior Chinatown, mid-afternoon, just so we establish that that's where we are. It's the fish market that's in Chinatown. And then we have something called the transition, which basically are just film editing instructions, which basically is just telling you how we get to the next scene. The ones that I can think of off the top of my head: cut to, which is the one I'm gonna use, a very basic one. You literally just cut to the next scene. Match cut. Match cut is a really great one. Match cuts are so cool. Let's say someone's like catching a ball and they're holding it like this, and in the next scene, the ball is replaced by the full moon and it's nighttime. I think it would be fun to use a match cut at some point in this movie. So exterior Chinatown mid-afternoon, some kind of line of action just to establish where we are. Cut to interior fish market mid-afternoon. Noah Fung, 16, enters the fish market. It's crowded. See, now my eloquency in this field of writing is being tested because I don't know if I'm supposed to be writing about her costume, maybe, I don't know. I don't think so. I am really imagining them to be speaking Cantonese because I speak Cantonese best. I'm sure there's a word of respect that Noah, as a younger person, should be saying to an older Asian man that is also a store owner. I'm positive that there is proper etiquette for this. I'm gonna have to call my mom and ask. The store owner sees Noah and beckons her over. Now we are going to get into our dialogue. So the dialogue always starts with the character's name, so we know who's speaking. So I'm gonna start with the store owner first. Next up, sometimes in screenwriting, you'll just have the store owner's name and then just what they say. But then you have something called the parenthetical, which happens right underneath the character's name. And these are written in parentheses. The parenthetical can be an action and or the attitude or the tone that the character says it in. Sometimes it can be something called a beat, which I've used a couple times in screenwriting. Hopefully I've done it right. I've used it to indicate pausing to think. So let's say something big drops, someone says something huge, and then there's a beat. You know, it just kind of makes those scenes be a little bit more impactful. I'm sure that we will be using beats at some point in the screenplay. Okay, going back to this. Parenthetical, store owner. I think he's gonna say this enthusiastically in Cantonese. Hey, Noah! Also, I know I didn't write that much, but I am gonna stop writing in about 20 minutes because I need to eat lunch and then I have to go to work. I've done a lot of talking, I haven't done a lot of writing, and I'm so sorry. But let's just write as much as we can until I have to leave. Okay, I'm gonna change this. I do not think that the store owner is gonna call her Noah. I don't even think that he knows her name. I think that he just knows her. And I'm using this based off of my relationship with the people in Chinatown back at home. There's one little hole in the wall grocery store in Chinatown that my mom and I go to. Whenever my mom goes in there and I'm in there with her, they like know my mom, but when they see me, they recognize me, but they don't know my name. They don't know, like, they just know like I'm her daughter. And I think that's kind of the same here. Obviously in this situation, they know her definitely more. But still in that same situation of like, I know your mom. I know your mom. I'm friends with your mom. We love your mom. And because we love your mom and we love your family, we love you. So in Cantonese, I'm pretty sure older men call younger women xiu jie, which means young lady, but it doesn't sound really good in English. Like it doesn't translate that well to English, but basically it's the equivalent to saying like, hey miss, you know, just like a kind way of greeting somebody. I think that's what he's gonna call her. I think I'm gonna write the English word. I'm just gonna say, miss. But I just want you to know that that's not what he says. He's speaking in Cantonese. And as he's saying this, he's like telling her to like get over to the front of the line. Also, I'm just gonna write because if I write and talk, we're not gonna get any writing done. I'm gonna write for 10 minutes, then I'm gonna show you what I have. And then I unfortunately need to eat something and then go to work. So, okay, be back in like 10 minutes, but I'm gonna keep this rolling. Oh my God, a little mole rat. You missed it. Oh, I hope you saw that. A little mole rat just showed up on my screen. That's crazy. Oh my God, I hope that happens again. I think it's because I wrote 250 words. Okay, hi. Okay, so I have written about 2 pages of screenwriting. God, my screen is so dirty. So sorry. I didn't get as far as I would have liked to, but I just am running out of time. Let's just go through quickly what we've written. So we start with this exterior Chinatown mid-afternoon, just so we establish that we're in Chinatown. I'm gonna obviously add some stuff in here. I just don't know what it is yet. Cut to the interior of a fish market mid-afternoon. Noah Fung, 16, enters the fish market. It's crowded and noisy with locals waiting with their ticket numbers. Fishmongers are serving customers and catching and cleaning live fish. Noah grabs a ticket number and waits in line. Noah's phone vibrates. Her mother is calling her. She declines the phone call. Her phone background is a picture of her and her dad at the beach. The owner sees Noah and beckons her over. And enthusiastically and in Cantonese, he goes, hey, miss, get over here. Noah makes her way to the front of the line. People move out of the way for her. Some stare at her, some don't care. She thanks and apologizes to them awkwardly. Kind of like, oh, thanks, sorry. In Cantonese, she says, hi, uncle, how are you? The fishmonger responds, good to see you. And then he says, what's your mother making tonight? AKA, What can I get for ya? I just want to make a note of this dialogue, this back and forth is very friendly, very familiar. I just love the way that Chinese people talk to each other because to the outside ears, it sounds like yelling, but it's not. Everyone's just like enthusiastic, you know? Noah responds, sea bass, please. The fishmonger grabs the hand net and catches a sea bass from the tank behind him. He takes it to the back counter to be cleaned. Noah waits, shifting from foot to foot. A little girl tries to stick her hand into a basket of blue crabs. Her mother gasps and picks the little girl up, kissing her fingers. The little girl stares up at Noah. The fishmonger places the bagged sea bass on the counter, and he asks her, how's your mother doing? And Noah says, oh, she's good, busy. Noah reaches for her wallet, and the fishmonger shakes his head. Don't worry about that. It's a gift. Noah says, my mom won't be happy about that. Noah tries to place the bill on the counter, but the fishmonger pushes it away. He goes, if your mom has a problem with it, she can come bother me. This is a gift from me. Noah hesitates and takes the fish from the counter because what is she gonna do? If she isn't gonna take it, that's disrespectful. If she takes it, it's respectful, but then she'd rather feel the wrath of her mother. You know, it's hard. It's hard. Okay, thank you, Uncle. Exterior, Chinatown, mid-afternoon. Noah walks down the streets of Chinatown with the sea bass in her hand. She walks past bustling streets full of market vendors selling produce, barbecued meat, and medicinal herbs. I really want to capture just her, like, shots of her walking up and down Chinatown so you really get to see the hustle and the bustle of Chinatown behind her. Exterior, Fung's restaurant. I don't have a name for the restaurant yet. That's a lie. I did have a name, and I wish I remembered it, but it was in the document, and I forgot it. So I think I called it, like, the Little Dragon Diner or something. I don't remember, but I think I wanted Noah to be born in the year of the dragon, so they called it the Little Dragon Diner, but I just don't remember. But it'll be fine because I'll think of a new one, or I'm gonna just make it that. But I just called it Fung's restaurant for now. Noah stops in front of the restaurant. She looks past her reflection and she can see her mom inside wiping down a table. Her mother sees her and gestures rapidly for her to come inside. And that's all I have so far. I am gonna write more. Hopefully I'll do some of that on my own time. And I'm really happy that we started the screenplay. And so now I actually have also that to work on now too, which is awesome. Also, for the sake of just this online project as well, I definitely struggle with finding time to be able to sit down and film and write at the same time. I'm realizing that it's not the most productive kind of way to write. Again, like, this is obviously like a pilot project. I didn't really have a game plan as to how I was gonna make this happen. Whenever I have time to work on this project on my own, I'm just gonna do it and write and then update whenever I can. And then whenever I have time to also write and film at the same time, I'll do that. So it'll just be kind of like an amalgamation of things I've done behind the scenes and things that I'll do on the screen. I am super thrilled that we started the screenplay. By all means, it's not the best thing I've ever written in my life. In my opinion, I actually don't think it's that strong right now. I'm just glad that I have the ball rolling. Anyway, with all that being said, I apologize that it's taken over a month to get this video out. It's not at all what I had planned, but you know, sometimes life really throws you into a loop and you just have to write it out. But anyway, I am gonna go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but I never know how long my videos are gonna be. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next see you, which hopefully is soon, but I also can't guarantee that because that's what I said last time, and I don't want to be a liar, so I just will see you whenever I next see you, which hopefully will be soon. Anyway, goodbye, have a great day, take care, bye.